Welcome back to another episode of the Dynamics Compass podcast, where we bring in the experts so you don't have to figure it all out the hard way. Today we've got Martin Walz or Martin Walz, um, depending where you are, to share his insights on the success factors of ERP implementations, mainly from a customer perspective. Martin serves as the director of ERP applications at Dynavax Technologies, overseeing the implementation of their Microsoft Dynamics finance and operations systems. With extensive experience on both the customer and partner sides, Martin has successfully implemented Dynamics solutions across multiple industries, including retail, healthcare, education, manufacturing, and pharmaceuticals. His comprehensive experience enables him to provide valuable insights into the critical factors that determine the success or failure of ERP implementations. Martin, thanks so much for joining today.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of insights you can share here today with your background. But first, so the audience gets to know you a little bit. What is something not a lot of people know about you?
Well, if I think about it, what I really like to do, and you see it with my background picture, I love to be outside. I love to go into the mountains, take my camera with me and go for a hike. And usually when I see other hikers, if they make the loop within 3 hours, I usually need 6 hours because I'm stopping and taking pictures and just enjoying the nature.
As
That's
it
what.
should.
Yes, correct. And that's something surely you will not see in my LinkedIn profile, for example, but that's what I really enjoy.
Yeah. It's good that you've got a way to switch off and enjoy. Like we don't live to work. We work to live, and it seems like you found a good way to do that.
Yeah. And the good news is here in Colorado, the cell phone reception is very spotty in the mountains. So you can really
Yes.
disconnect, and that's good.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. All right. Also for the viewer, I like we mentioned a little bit on in the intro already, but so the viewer kind of understands with the answers that you're going to give in this conversation. Could you explain a little bit more your experience with implementing ERP systems?
Yes, of course. Let me go all the way back. After college, I started directly my ERP career at this time. I started at a Navision Solution Center, a startup at this point with selling Navision solution. At this time, it was still in the DOS box. So it was an amazing time because at this time I could really do everything from pre-sales, sales to the analysis and design phase, then the build and development phase, training,
Hmm.
go live support. It really allowed me to learn everything of the business in all areas. This is surely something that is not so easy in today's world because over these 30 years, the ERP functionality has grown so much and it's hard to keep up to date in every module and in every area.
Yeah.
So that was my starting point. And surely I was growing up in Germany and did most of my business in Germany, but also in the surrounding countries of Germany. I remember the projects in Netherlands, in Switzerland, in Austria, in France. And this gave me also a good background what's going on in other countries.
Yeah.
And then surely around about 13, so a little bit more than 13 years ago, I moved here to the United States. Since then, working on the end customer side. And this gave me another opportunity to really learn, hey, the US side of the business and seeing the customer perspective.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And have you always been in Dynamics, or you've worked with other ERP systems as well?
Yes, mainly dynamics over this last 30 years. However, I had also touch points with other systems For example, in my previous job, we had an Epicor implementation. So here I was responsible for Epicor as well.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's good. So you've got knowledge outside the Dynamics
Yeah,
ecosystem as
yeah,
well. All
yeah.
right.
Not as deep as Dynamics, but a
Yes.
little bit.
All right. Well, with jumping into ERP implementations, then since you've got that background from both the consulting or partner side and
Mhm.
the end user side, they're a big undertaking. What are normally the main reasons for companies to implement a new ERP solution?
We There's surely many reasons why they implement a new solution. Let's start with, hey, they maybe have outgrown their current solution. They started maybe with 30, 40 users, and now they are a bigger company, 5,000 users, and the current system doesn't fit anymore. Or for example, if you think about Great Plains, we are reaching the end of life with Great Plains, and that means, hey, we have to upgrade to another
Hmm.
solution. Other reasons why you maybe upgrade is, hey, if you are public, not a public, if you're a private company and you plan to go public, suddenly you need to be SOX compliant, need to follow regulatory rules, and that could also mean, hey, we have to change our ERP systems to be compliant. Other areas why you want to do this is surely, hey, you want to improve your operations, streamline the operation, gets to the next level of processes, maybe re-implementing some of your processes. And it's sometimes good to cut off the old cords and say, hey, let's start fresh and really do a greenfield implementation and cut off all these old systems that you have put in place many years ago.
Yeah. With that last thing that you said, what dictates the processes then? Is it the ERP system that will dictate how the new processes should be, or are the process designed first and then an ERP solution is selected?
Well, the processes should be always done before. However, the key is surely, hey, you need to have in mind what is the best practice. You are just not going into a closed room and think by yourself. You really think what's possible today? What's the current state of the possibilities? And from there, you are really start to think what's the right end-to-end process that gives me the right automation, the right efficiency, the right scalability.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just I come 13 years ago, like a while ago, I started recruitment on the SAP side, and I know there was a
Mhm.
big thing to that SAP would dictate the processes that you would run as a company. So I was wondering, has that always been different on the Microsoft side, or is there an overlap where it's kind of the same, but sometimes not? So I thought I'd ask that question.
And it's a good question because, look, I believe there is a good set of best practices how you should operate, and all the ERP systems out there, they are you surely support these best practices. So from that perspective, yes, very important to stay on the best practice side of the house. And what I see or have seen in the past, hey, whenever we hit a roadblock in the implementation, that someone raises the hand and says, hey, this process should be the other way around. It should not be 1, 2, 3, it should be 3, 2, 1. This is always for me the time to raise my hand and ask very precisely why, what's the reason? Because are we really so special that our processes are different compared to our other companies in the same industry?
Yeah.
And if so, I really want to know it because, hey, that's maybe a unique selling point for our company, gives us a unique proposition, compared to our competitors. So from that perspective here, I'm listening very carefully. I want to learn these exceptions. But usually what I hear then from the business, it's, well, we have always done it this way. That's how we decided many years ago. And then it's the time to say, okay, forget what we have done many years ago. Let's follow the best practice, because we surely don't want to over customize our system and
Hmm.
just reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. That could be a whole different discussion. What's more painful, over customizing or getting your users to change the way of working?
Well, the over customization is surely the, the worst path to go. I will
Yeah.
always fight the other fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of leads into the next question though. What are key challenges for the customer when implementing a new ERP solution?
Yes. Well, you gave a good segue. It is a lot of work, and it's clear there will be a lot of resistance because, hey, why should we spend so much work? Why should we learn again? Why should we change the processes? Um, Users are very often quite comfortable how they have organized their work, so expect resistance.
Hmm.
This is probably not number one. Number two, um, it is a big investment. It is not just a small project, just quickly do it. And we probably have heard um, some stories that ERP implementation went south and had a big negative impact on the performance of the company. So
Yeah.
there is also a huge risk involved with it, and that's surely another challenge.
Okay.
Let's see. What other challenges will we see? Oh, usually data migration will be underestimated. So here my recommendation is always start very soon thinking about data migration, data cleanup, data cleansing. How do you transfer from old data state to a new data state? How do you validate? How do you make sure you get a consistent data set? So these pieces takes usually the longest time, and you should start in your ERP project very early to talk about data migration and how do we ensure that we have the right quality
Yeah.
for the data migration.
Why do you think that is? That it's underestimated?
It's typically not directly on the radar. The first thinking is, hey, we have all the data in the old system. And then we suddenly realize when we dig deeper, oh, the data is a mess. We have old vendors that are no longer working with us. We are missing data. The new system requires mandatory fields that are not in the old data set. So there is a lot of pieces suddenly serving up, and it takes time to clean it up. It's not just, oh, yes, we press a button and it's clean. It
Yeah.
is a lot of manual work, and start early to look into this.
Yeah. Which that is already a segue into the next question again. Um, you did mention you work with or you've had exposure to other ERP solutions.
Yeah.
What would you say are the key factors to ensure a successful implementation?
Hmm. Well, let's start with the partner that you select. That's surely a very important decision. Not every partner is the right partner for you. So select here wisely. And surely your key requirement is that this partner knows your industry. I would not go with a partner who is new to your industry and you need to teach them first how your business work. So here the partner is surely the right the right starting point, and find the right partner. Um, the second point we talked about is hey, start with the data migration early.
Hmm.
The third topic I would mention is hey, having an internal solution architect. that drives the project, that manage the project, that is the advocate, the steward of the project, that make sure that this project goes in the right direction. I would always recommend to hire internal competencies because look, at the end of the day, our partners, they want to make money. That's usually their approach.
Yeah.
And some of them want to make more money than others, also to be fair. So it is a good choice to have someone internally to really manage the partner and keep them in line and make sure we have a good collaboration and not running down some rabbit holes.
Yeah. What do you think of the approach? So I don't know about the company sizes that you work for, but if you're a big company, you should go with a big partner.
Um, yes and no. The question is, what is big and big partner? I'm surely, look, if you are a smaller company, let's say 100 employees or 200 employees, and you go with a partner, maybe one of the big consulting companies where they have 100,000 of employees.
Hmm.
Surely it's very clear if something happens that the partner has resource limitations, it's
Yeah.
very clear you will be at the end of the food chain. You will
Yeah.
be suffer, not the other bigger companies. So from that perspective, I surely love more companies that are from a size perspective, eye to eye, and not too much different. However, it still can work. You need to know the risks and what you are getting into it.
And as long as they have the industry experience, that's
Yes,
your number one.
yes, definitely correct.
Okay. Um, and from an implementation perspective, what is different about F&O, like Dynamics 365 F&O compared to other ERPs?
Let's hold your thought for a moment. I want to add two more things to the previous question. What's important for a successful implementation?
Okay.
The 2 points that I want to add is number one, you need to have the right leadership, support, and buy-in. And what I mean with that, it is about the business ownership, business leadership, your CFO, your COO, for example. ERP implementation is always a business project. So it's not an IT project. So while maybe
Hmm.
your IT leader or CIO is in full support, the CIO should not run this project. It should be a business project and the business runs the project. The other piece is that it's critical. Think about the organizational change management. With a new system, there will be new responsibilities, new ways of working, new processes, and this will impact your organization. You maybe need some new hires, and maybe others will be obsolete. So
Hmm.
please have in mind organizational change management is a critical part of an ERP implementation.
Yeah. With the buy-in piece, does it matter who is the key stakeholder or the sponsor of the project to determine whether the project is going to be a success or a failure?
It has a significant impact. So I always recommend it needs to be a business person, and it should surely someone with the right leadership and decision authority.
Yeah. Okay. As long as those boxes are ticked,
Yeah,
then it doesn't have to be the CFO, for example. It could be someone else as long as those
correct,
boxes.
correct. Yes, but surely I would also then recommend, hey, the CFO or COO should be part of the steering committee to
Yeah.
be updated periodically, and if there is critical decisions that they are part of the overall project.
Yeah. That makes sense. Um, okay. Then the next question again.
Yeah.
From an implementation perspective, what
Mhm.
is different about Dynamics F&O compared to other ERPs?
Hmm, that's a hard question because I don't know all the other ones. I have some touch points, but surely I cannot say, oh, I know 5, 10 different systems. But
Yeah.
overall, if I would summary what I personally really like is, hey, number one, you can have D365 in the cloud as well as on premises. It
Hmm.
is structured very simple. Hey, you have four main modules. You have your finance, you have your operations, then you have HR and project accounting. And that's the base for also for the pricing. It's a very simple pricing structure that I also like very much. I really like that, for example, Microsoft always charged only $180 per license since 2018. And just last year, we made a price increase to $210 per user per month. So this simple pricing structure is just something that makes the life with Microsoft very easy. And surely Microsoft is very nicely integrated with the Microsoft ecosystem. Hey, with Power Platform, with all the other tools, Power Automate, Power Apps, Power BI.
Hmm.
So the full ecosystem gives surely an amazing advantage.
Yeah.
And maybe the last point I would say, hey, with D365, we have a global application, a worldwide application, different languages, different localizations, a huge network of partners and freelancers. So this is something that gives you surely an advantage if you have a global company.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. You mentioned as one of the success factors for successful implementation. The first thing you mentioned was selecting the right partner.
Yes.
You mentioned a few things already, but what do you look for in a partner?
Mhm. Um, does they align with your approach and value? And what I mean with this, let me explain a little bit. Um, we have partners, their approach is, hey, we are a full service provider and we do everything for you. So hey, just give us the contract and we manage every step on the way. And if you're looking to a full service provider, no internal IT stuff, great approach. But you can also have on the other end of the spectrum the approach, hey, we as a customer, we want to be self-sufficient. We want to build an own team, run and operate the system. So
Hmm.
what we need from the partner is that you support this model of self-sufficient. We just need you for the hard questions, for the problems, and if we need additional capability, keys. And this
Yeah.
is just one other aspect to see in the partners. Does the approach and the values align with your values?
I was gonna say, wanting to build the internal capability wouldn't would often not be in the best interest of the partner that wants to sell you the managed services as well, for example.
For, for example, however, if the partner um, has this as kind of their approach and business model. They know they can help us then maybe with the data and analytics. They can help us with AI. They have more opportunities in other projects because, hey, we like it how they are enabling us to do internal more, to own the system and really gain the benefits by ourselves. So this partner will surely not be kicked out. Hey, we will have much more projects with them that we want to implement. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
while it looks first, it's not in the right interest at the end. There is surely a return coming back.
Yeah. Obviously, it should always be have the client's best interest at heart. Um,
Correct.
if your own dollars go in front of your client's success, then,
Mhm.
well, if you can figure that out, if you can uncover that that's the true intention of the partner, then they
Yes,
shouldn't be on the short list. Um, but that might
correct.
be the hard part, figuring that out, the true intentions. But um, giving humans the benefit of the doubt, I'd like to think that most people have the right intentions when they get into business.
Fair point. Yes.
Um, what tips would you give someone who's never implemented an ERP solution?
Yes. Number one, hey, get an internal solution architect helping you in this project. Being being new and just thinking I can do everything by yourself is most of the time not a good approach. So
Yeah,
get internal help, an internal steward, an internal advocate that really drives and manage your interests in the project so that you are not driven by the partner. The next topic is I would say, hey, it's not done just signing a contract with with a partner. You need to drive and manage the project. You need to manage the team. You need to be available for decisions, for the right change management. So take the ownership and yes, I'm here and I'm running with the project. It is not just signing the contract and then everything will be done automatically.
A- apart from, I don't know if you had more tips, but just a question in between.
Yeah.
Do you only need the like a solution architect on your side or also a project manager?
Um, it depends. Sometimes it makes sense to have an internal project manager. Sometimes you can also utilize the project manager of the partner, for example. The key point is surely that you have someone who is advocating and really driving your interests
Yeah,
in the project. And a good solution architect can also fulfill some of the project management work and help out with these areas. So it depends for me on the size of the company, of the size of the project.
yeah. Does it matter to you whether that solutions architect is then a contractor or an internal employee?
It can be a contractor. The key point is you need a good person. You need the right person. And what I mean with it, it should be not an administrator or junior
Yeah,
person. It needs to be someone who has done this many times and know the gaps, know the issues, know the typical problems, and can guide you around
yeah.
these gaps.
And it's getting paid by you and not by the
Yes,
partner.
correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Were there any other tips that you wanted
Yes,
to share?
yes. A couple of more. Um, Quality assurance. Please spend enough time on testing, on training thoroughly. Think about of a parallel go live, a test go live to make sure we have reached the right quality in our implementation. Nothing is more disappointing than going live and something is not working. Hey, you cannot print an invoice. Hey, you cannot transact. These things can be avoided. So spend enough time on quality assurance and make it correct. And maybe the last point that I want to point out is the go live is not the end of the project. It is a starting point and an important starting point because you start with the day-to-day operation. But down the road, hey, there is the first month end closing. Then you have the quarter end closing. Maybe even 9, 10 months down the road, there is the year end closing. There is cycle counting. There's revaluation. So there is so much more to come down the road and have your operations and run team ready. You need to upgrade, you need to test, etc. So it's a start, the go live. It's not the end of the project.
Yeah, that's a really good point because yeah, I do know that a lot of people view it as the finish line. Like, yeah, we made it, done.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
And then you miss to have the right team members available to manage all these additional functionality, the continuous improvements, and you start struggling and making the users ongoing happy.
Yeah. coming back to the quality assurance piece.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just asking this because I've spoke to everyone does it in a different way.
Mhm.
In your opinion, can you rely on the partner doing all the testing for you, or is that something you should do in-house or a blended model?
Uh, well, you need at least a blended model. The partner can help you with a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you are the expert of the business. You know precisely how you execute the processes. So the sign off of the business is a critical part of testing and quality assurance. If
Okay.
you would outsource this all to the partner, you will see a lot of gaps and issues.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying. Again, if there's someone in your position but has never done an ERP implementation, I think everything you shared today, including all the tips, are very helpful to have them go with their eyes open into this process, knowing a bit more on what to look out for and steps to take. Thank
Sounds Sounds
thank
good. And hey, also feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you have more questions. I'm happy to connect and have a chat.
yeah. Um, so I'll yeah, these videos go up with your name so people get to spell your name correctly so it's easier to to find you. So I'll make sure that that happens.
Thank you.
Yeah, anyone who's watching this and does have questions because they're about to embark on an implementation or anything else, feel free to reach out to Martin. He's very generous with his time and his knowledge. Um, so for that, I wanted to thank you as well today for coming on and speaking on this topic.
My
Um,
pleasure.
wish you all the best with the projects you've got right now with your F&O systems. And yeah, what maybe one day we get to pick on your brain again.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take have a great rest of your day.
Yes,
Bye.
you too. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode on the Dynamics Compass podcast. We decided to launch this podcast after having spoken to a lot of people in the community who seem to be looking for answers to the same questions. So then we decided, why don't we find experts in the market that have the answers, interview them, and then release that information for free to help everyone progress their Microsoft Dynamics journey. So we hope that you found this video very informative and helpful for you to continue your journey and keep moving forward. If you would like to hear about any other topics, please write to me on LinkedIn, email me, Rory at thegoodtalent.co, and we'd be happy to have a look. We'll look for the experts that have the answers. We'll interview them and it will be freely available to you. Again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your support as well. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.